Welcome to Nurse Strong, where our mission is to promote edification, self-care, and camaraderie among nurses. Our vision is to positively change the culture of nursing, and this is starting with you. You, my friends, are Nurse Strong, day and night long. Let's take a minute to shout out Anchor. Anchor is the platform that I am using to reach all of you all with my Nurse Strong message. If you have a dream or a vision to one day start a podcast, consider using Anchor for all of your podcast needs. They give you everything you need to record and edit your podcast, and they will also distribute your podcast to different platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many, many more. So consider Anchor next time you want to do a podcast. Thank you. Hello, everybody. This is Alicia, your host of Nurse Strong. And this episode, we are going to talk a little bit about the Joint Commission. I know all my nurses probably know what the Joint Commission is, also affectionately known as JCAHO, but just a little background on what the Joint Commission is. It's basically an entity that is super focused on patient safety and healthcare. One of their mottos is they are leading the way to zero harm. So what they do is they come around to different hospitals and healthcare organizations, and they make sure that all the hospitals and the staff are following these set standards. And I mean, the standards are very rigorous, they're very strict, and these are standards and processes that nurses and healthcare facilities are supposed to be implementing in an attempt to not cause patients any harm. So it is a great organization. It's a great thing that we need to make sure that we are giving the most superior quality care. But I'm telling you, when they come to the hospital and they are doing their inspections, oh my goodness, it is so stressful for the nurses and all of the staff, all the people that come in contact with the patients. This is a very stressful time. So I just wanted to, reach out to my nurses and my nursing students and all of my healthcare workers, my everybody, MAs, techs, everybody who is going to have to go through this inspection, and let you know that you can absolutely do it. What made me think about the Joint Commission is I'm getting ready to take a group of students to the hospital for their clinical rotation. And I went up to meet one of the nurse managers on the floor, and just to get a feel for the nurse manager and the culture of the floor, and introduce myself and see, what their expectations were, and kind of let them know mine. And so they were very friendly, very open, very excited to have students, but there was a little stress because they told me that the week that we were starting, Joint Commission was going to be doing their inspection. And not only was Joint Commission going to be in the hospital doing their inspection, but their conference room on their floor was kind of like where the Joint Commission was setting up their headquarters. So they just felt like, oh my goodness, we are going to be under such a big microscope, and then we're going to have students, and the students are going to be there. The students are going to be answering questions. We're already trying to do everything perfectly. Then Joint Commission is going to be asking us different things about how we train the students. And oh my goodness, she was just so stressed out about that process. And so I totally got it. I totally understand, because when I was working on the floor, oh my goodness, when Joint Commission came, it was a big deal. It was a huge deal. So just wanted to touch on how it affects the nurses. So what I witnessed is that nurses in administration, and not just nurses, but administration and all of the different people in their places, they are very stressed, and it brings a high level of anxiety to nurses, and also a lot of self doubt. And it's a very, very hard time for people to be under that scrutiny. So, just a little bit about my first JCO experience. So, I was working on a cardiac intervention floor, and JCO was coming, and our floor was actually pretty good. Not to brag, but we were a pretty model floor as far as how we did our practices and our processes and how we followed certain criteria when we were taking care of our patients and all of that stuff. We were pretty good about that. So we weren't too worried, but it was still very nerve wracking. So I remember, I just have this attitude like whatever, I do my job every day and I'm not about to be stressed out about no JCO. I'm gonna keep doing everything the way I've been doing it and I am not getting stressed out about JCO. So I'm out on the floor doing my thing and I notice it's like a ghost town out here. Like I'm walking down the halls and I notice I'm like the only one walking down the halls. And it's like these other nurses like vaporized. Like they found somewhere to go real quick. They were given that extra care in the room, anywhere to not be out in those hallways when those JCO investigators or whatever they're called was coming around asking their questions and asking you to show them how would you do things in this situation or what's your process for this or what system do you normally use, and I'm walking around all crazy by myself. And so joint commission was there. They came and then they left. And all of a sudden, I saw all my coworkers just reappear. And I'm like, well, where were all y'all? Because clearly everybody got the memo to go hide somewhere. And I didn't get that memo. So it was just really funny because I was the main one talking about whatever, we got this, we got this. And, all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm by myself. And I think I did run into JCO, the representatives, but they had already had a victim and they had already had a nurse. So I just quickly turned around so fast and was like, okay, let me take notice and get gone like everybody else. But that was my first experience. Is a funny story, but man, it should not be like that. So I just want to just say to nurses especially that when we know that joint commission is coming and we prepare, if we stay prepared all year around, it won't be so stressful. So I would say if JCO is coming to your floor, one thing you should do when you wake up that morning and you get ready to go out and go to that floor, you decide that you're going to have a good day. So whatever, and when I say decide, we all know that every day is you have to consciously decide to have a good day, because if we leave it up to fade or leave it up to just whatever happens, we are totally in control of whatever happens. But if we decide to take control of our day, we can have a good day no matter what the circumstances are. So if you have to start your day off listening to some uplifting music, listen to a podcast, watch some motivational videos, say some affirmations to get your day started on a good note, then you make sure you do that. And if you do that every day, you don't have to start doing it when JCO comes. Um, so make sure you take and keep control of your day. And so I also want to say create an atmosphere for positivity. And I know it sounds weird, but we can create that atmosphere for positive things to happen. All of these things are controlled by our attitude. Just want to share something. I know everybody has different beliefs and different practices. I respect everybody's beliefs and practices. I just want to kind of share something that I do. So, something, that used to make me nervous when I first started being a nurse was starting IVs. And I know that gives a lot of nurses anxiety, starting IVs, because we don't always have to do it. So, something I do and I have done over the years is every single time I get ready to start an IV, I say to myself, I just say, thank you, Lord, because that puts me in a different mind space. it takes away, for me personally, it takes away my anxiety. It makes me think about something good and positive and happy, and it makes me more confident and calm to do that task that I normally would not feel so confident about. So what I'm saying is, if you are in a situation where there is J-code or whatever, if you don't, insert Foley's well, if you don't, um, I don't know, give your meds on time, you need help with time management, do whatever you need to do. Take your mind to whatever place you need to take it to create that positive energy so that you can be calm and at your best to do that task at, its best standard. Um, so I mentioned earlier to be JCO ready all year. That means always improve your craft all throughout every day that you're working. Ask questions, constantly acquire knowledge. Practice doing those processes correctly, and in the right way. Don't just learn things when it's time to be inspected. So when you have those things that you do and you're confident about doing them and you ask questions, you won't be so stressed when someone's watching you. And you'll know that this is something I've been practicing doing. I've been doing it this way, all this time. And I don't have to get nervous beyond normal nervousness that you're gonna have when J. Cole or whoever is assessing me. And create some type of system to do these things correctly and time efficient. I know that I used to always have to just plan out my whole 12-hour shift. And Lord knows, I know that things are not always going to go how you plan them. But if you start creating some type of system, like when I hang this medication, this is the system I'm going to do. I'm going to check this, then I'm going to scan this, then I'm going to do. And you start doing those things every day and make that part of your routine, and you make sure you're within those limits that you're supposed to be in, then when it's time to shine in front of other people, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're not going to fail. You are going to shine because you have been doing those things the way that you're supposed to be doing them every day. And you are fully equipped. You are educated. You are strong. And you know what you're doing. So you won't have to be scared or upset or nervous or anxious or full of self-doubt when people like J. Cole come around. And I just want to close with this last tip. In nursing, there is absolutely no room for negative self-talk. Find you a buddy. You guys pep each other up. You let each other know all of the things that you are doing great. And you guys work on all those things that you want to improve on. But there is absolutely no room for negative self-talk. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to leave me your comment, or you can email me your feedback and suggestions to livenursestrong@gmail.com. Talk to you later.